When the light breaks in, the lies can't stay. Truth cuts deep, yeah, masks fade away. No fear, no chains, I speak and expose. Freedom in the word, now watch it unfold. I bet they go Luffy reactions.
All right, y'all. I pray you are having a great day. My goodness, so much is happening in the world. I was talking to my wife about it last night, and I'm like, I'm not surprised about any of this because, many of us, back in 2020, the Lord gave us a dream about the pandemic being planned. All right. Now, obviously, you don't need a dream to really know, but there are people that genuinely believed the things that were being reported on the news, like this disease came from the Chinese people. People were eating bat soup in a certain village, and it transferred that way, and it was just a bunch of nonsense, and it was all planned. And I want to share with you all, a dream that I had back in 2020. I'm going to show you the screenshot. Then we're going to talk about these Epstein files where I believe Bill Gates sent an email to Jeffrey Epstein about a pandemic simulation. You feel me? And all this stuff is just dark, and it's also prophetic, and it's also spiritual warfare. And we have to be praying because there's evil out there, and we're not just battling against, just even spiritual warfare in itself, but just people out there in government, in power, World Health Organization, all that stuff. It's just very demonic and very dark. But let's get into this dream, guys, that I don't even think I have this right now, but let's get into this dream, guys, that I had back in 2020. Hopefully this pops up. Give me a moment right over here. I want to share this with you all. All right. April 11th, 2020. This is a dream that I had. I was in a factory and I saw workers working on a substance without really understanding what they were doing. I saw the chemicals they were using. I realized they were making a virus. Once I realized what they were doing, I informed my family, and we stayed in the basement to avoid the direct disperse of it in the atmosphere. For some reason, I knew where the virus was coming from on Earth, but don't be confused. It originates from the pit of hell. In my dream, I could see the news reports on how millions on Earth began to die because of the virus. For some odd reason, in my dream, I knew that we were drawing closer and closer to the end times. I saw millions of people die, and I could hear screams as the virus spread throughout the whole world. I noticed that my family and I survived the virus, but we were fearful for loved ones. I saw the virus being a weapon against the world. I watched on a radar screen how this virus penetrated the whole world so quickly. After that, the atmosphere didn't feel the same, and I woke up. Now that was back in April 11, 2020. Now today, we are seeing the release of the Epstein files, and I'm gonna show you guys a video of Bill Gates speaking up and his wife, right? But now we're seeing the release of these Epstein files, and it just makes you just like, this world is really evil and people are really evil. Now, if you look at these files right over here, right, and you go towards the bottom, go down to point 5 right here. Just come down with me to point 5. It says right here, follow-up recommendations and or technical specifications for strain pandemic simulation. Strain pandemic simulation. And that really just points back, guys, to the dream the Lord gave me in 2020. It's all a simulation. It's preparing us for the beast system. It's preparing us for control. How will we respond? How will we bow down to the new world order? Because in order for there to be a new world order, there has to be some type of destruction, some type of chaos, some type of need of control, right? And God is just exposing a lot right now. And I truly believe that Bill Gates, it 100% was a simulation, because he even like predicted the pandemic that would come. He spoke about something in 2016, and then it ended up happening in 2020, late 2019, 2020. Take a look at this clip.
When I was a kid, the disaster we worried about most was a nuclear war. That's why we had a barrel like this down in our basement, filled with cans of food and water. When the nuclear attack came, we were supposed to go downstairs, hunker down, and eat out of that barrel. Today, the greatest risk of global catastrophe doesn't look like this. Instead, it looks like this. If anything kills over 10 million people in the next few decades, it's most likely to be a highly infectious virus rather than a war. Not missiles, but microbes. Now, part of the reason for this is that we have invested a huge amount in nuclear deterrence, but we've actually invested very little in a system to stop an epidemic. We're not ready for the next epidemic.
And you know what happened 4 years ago? You know what happened 4 years after he said that? A pandemic. He said, we are not ready for the next pandemic. And he talked about millions of people dying back in 2016 by a pandemic. And my dream for 2020, this is exactly what I saw. And obviously it was already in the airways, but the dream that the Lord gave me was to show me that this is controlled opposition. Obviously there's an enemy, there's the devil and whatnot, but there are also people in government, powerful people that are in the health organization, that are in the World Health Organization, that are in pharmacies, that are actually destroying people. They actually have an agenda to take lives. And this whole thing's a simulation. And the deep, dark thing about this whole thing is these people worship Baal. And if he's sending emails to Jeffrey Epstein, it means that this was a sacrifice. Because Baal, it was all about sacrifice for power and bloodshed and all those different things. So everything that we experienced in 2020 to 2021 was indeed a sacrifice. And these people became richer and more powerful. Because what on earth, why on earth are you messaging Jeffrey Epstein about a simulation? What does Jeffrey Epstein know about health? All he knows is sacrifice. So this points us back to the reality, or to my opinion, that it was a global sacrifice. All right, so let's get into this video right now of Bill Gates' ex-wife speaking out.
I think we're having a reckoning as a society, right? No girl should ever be put in the situation that they were put in by Epstein and whatever was going on with all of the various people around him. No girl. I mean, it's beyond heartbreaking, right? I remember being those ages, those girls were. I remember my daughters being those ages, right? So for me, it's personally hard whenever those details come up, right? Because brings back memories of some very, very painful times in my marriage, but I have moved on from that.
You hear that? She's even talking about her marriage. Some painful times in my marriage. And you know who she was married to, right? Bill Gates. So she's saying all these things are bringing bad memories.
I purposely pushed it away and I moved on. I'm in a really unexpected, beautiful place in my life. So whatever questions remain there of what I can't even begin to know all of it, those questions are for those people and for even my ex-husband. They need to answer to those things, not me.
Well,
and I am so happy to be away from all the muck.
I wonder what your dominant emotion is when you read these news articles.
Just unbelievable sadness. Unbelievable sadness, right? And again, I'm able to take my own sadness and look at those young girls and say, my God, how did they... How did that happen to those girls?
Now, this is crazy. My prayer is that she wasn't involved, but usually people who are Satanists or they're involved in the occult, it's not always that their spouse is involved. Not always. Sometimes people are blind, they don't know, and they find out later the horror that their husband or their wife was involved in. Sometimes, husband and wife are involved. Sometimes they're not. And it's this is so unfortunate. This is just so unfortunate.
Girls, right? And so for me, it's just sadness for, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad. And
Okay, now ask yourself a question. Why did she feel like she had to leave her marriage? She had to leave her marriage. She had to leave the foundation. What was the foundation? What was happening in the marriage where she said, I had to leave? Was it physical abuse? Was it emotional abuse? Or was it some sacrifices? Or was it some diabolical things taking place? What was it? I don't think she's really shocked. I don't think Bill Gates' wife is shocked of the things that are being headlined on the news. She's not shocked. She divorced him because she know Wagwan. Because she knows what's going on. She know what's up. And us prophetic people that the Holy Spirit speaks to, we were having these dreams back then. We knew the evil and the corruption, that everything that was happening, it was man-made. That whole virus was man-made, and it was a simulation, and it was a sacrifice globally. Everything's coming out now because they're not just trying to take people out because of overpopulation like some of us would speculate before, but as the truth is coming out that Bill Gates was connected to Jeffrey Epstein, we can now understand that this alignment must involve sacrifice.
it's kind of like, at least for me, I've been able to move on in life. And I hope there's some justice for those now women, right? We see them standing up in front of microphones in D.C. What they went through is just unimaginable, I think.
Every minute I spent with him, I regret and I apologize that I did that.
Part of that issue of trust brings me to Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know what your relationship with him was.
Yeah, I met Jeffrey in 2011. So over a period of 3 years, I had a number of dinners with him. The focus was always, he knew a lot of very rich people, and he was saying he could get them to give money to global health. In retrospect, that was...
This is a bunch of nonsense. A bunch of nonsense. So he was just meeting with Jeffrey Epstein because Jeffrey Epstein said he had a lot of money. No, you're not just going to meet up just with anyone because they said they had a lot of money. If I came out randomly and I said, I know a lot of people have billions of dollars that will give you a lot of money. And that what he could be saying, it could be partly true because he did know a lot of wealthy people that were going to the island. And he had photos of them, videos of them, emails of them, and he could blackmail them. He just had them at a chokehold. So yeah, Jeffrey Epstein could have done this, but I believe there's two parts to this story. Bill Gates knew what was happening. Bill Gates has bones in his closet too.
It's a dead end and money to global health. He was saying he could get them to give money to global health. In retrospect, that was a dead end, and I've said many times, but I'll say again, I was foolish to spend time with him. I was one of many people who regret ever knowing him.
You've no doubt seen the allegations, including some of them from the last 24 to 48 hours.
I was foolish to hang out with him. I was foolish to do this. I was foolish to do that, but you never spoke out about this foolish, dumb, stupid, sacrificial relationship built upon mammon until Donald Trump came into office, and then now all this exposure is taking place. What people called conspiracy before is coming out as the truth.
Are they true?
No,
No doubt seen the allegations, including some of them from the last 24 to 48 hours. Are they true?
No, apparently Jeffrey wrote an email to himself. That email was never sent. The email is, false. So I don't know what his thinking was there. Was he trying to attack me in some way? But it just reminds me, every minute I spent with him, I regret and I apologize that I did that.
The problem is some of the things that he has sent and some of the information about other people that has come up in those files has been true. Why would he do this and say this about you, do you think?
It's factually true that I was only at dinners. I never went to the island.
Listen, I ain't gonna lie to you. This is so crazy. This guy is, oh my. Y'all hear this? Do y'all hear this? He's saying Bill Gates was trying to attack me. He's trying to come. For what? All the other emails were true, came out as facts. So why would Jeffrey Epstein try to come and attack you with secret files? Think about this for a second. I regret hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein.
Island. I never met any women. And so, the more that comes out, the more clear it'll be that although the time was a mistake, it had nothing to do with that kind of behavior.
Is it frustrating to you, given what you've said, that this is now happening?
Not really. I mean, people should, hold people who are successful to a very high bar. And so, it's as these.
You know what's so interesting? He said he's not bothered by this. But you know who was bothered? You know who was bothered? His ex-wife. His ex-wife was bothered and said, I had to get out of the foundation. I had to get out of the marriage. I had to leave. When scripture talks about in Matthew chapter 24, verse 7, it says, for nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. Those pestilences, guys, it's biological warfare, not just random pestilences, but it's created. It's created by man. They're inspired by demonic forces, inspired by the devil to release sickness, manufactured, man-made sickness that's backed by demons into the earth. And we even see that in Job chapter 2, verse 68. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thy hand, only spares life. So went Satan from the presence of the Lord and smote or strike Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot until his crown. Right? So Satan from the beginning of time was sending sickness and making people sick. So Satan is now collaborating, or demons are collaborating with humanity now, and they have the same agenda to kill people. All for a sacrifice. Now, I don't believe anything Bill Gates says. Bill Gates, Jeffrey Epstein, in my own opinion, are the same people. And why does this matter to the body of Christ? It's because some of us are becoming victims. And we're going around and we're getting those jabs that they want you to get. Don't focus on this stuff. Just preach the gospel. Guys, these are the things that the Bible warns us about in the book of Revelation, in the Gospels. These are the things Jesus is talking about. So when you take this, boom, autism, children all jacked up and messed up, and they're making up all these vaccines and things for things they created. It's a simulation. And this is where we conclude, guys. And I would say, guys, like never before, if you were never praying before, pray more. Because there might be some report coming out in the future where some of the meat is human. Some of the chicken, some of the burger patties and ground beef in the stores and Walmart are human flesh. It may get to that point. It becomes the biggest conspiracy for a little bit, and then it becomes factual with certain files being released. That would devastate the world. And I believe one day something like that will come out. Anyways, may the Lord be with each and every one of you. God bless you. Just before I end this, you heard Bill Gates's response. Let's listen to his wife again.
Sadness for, I left my marriage. I had to leave my marriage. I wanted to leave my marriage. I had to leave I felt I needed to eventually leave the foundation. So it's just sad. And it's kind of like, at least for me, I've been able to move on in life. And
I had to leave my marriage. I needed to leave my marriage. I had to leave the foundation. Bill Gates' foundation was satanic. My marriage was satanic. I had to go. I had to leave. Occultists, Satanists, people of God, we got to wake up. We have Satanists ruling the world. We have occultists ruling the World Health Organization. We got demons. And those of you that are in America, be thankful that Trump is in office, because this man is pulled out from the World Health Organization. And the number one person that is the number one financial supporter to the World Health Organization is Bill Gates. Bill Gates is controlling health globally, vaccines globally. So be thankful that man, Donald Trump, is in office, even though you don't like him because of ICE and stuff like that. I get it, right? But him pulling America out is what America needs. Because there are simulations taking place in the world. There are simulations taking place in the world. Go look at the number one supporter financially to World Health Organization. Go look at it. It's Bill Gates. May God have mercy on us all.